All right, we are live. Hope you guys can hear me, see me, all that good stuff. Today, we're going to be talking about how to burn fat and lower your stress at the same time. And if you have any questions as I go along through this, drop it in the comments section. Happy to answer that after I'm done through all this. And if you're new to the group, awesome. Welcome aboard. My name is Miles Wold. I own and operate the Winners Mindset Fitness Academy. It's a specific fitness academy for contractors such as yourself. If you're trying to lose the dad bod, trying to lose 30, 40, 50 pounds plus, put on muscle, have more energy, and rise up as that better leader. Because some of the biggest things that I see contractors struggle with is, not having a plan, not having a clear structure on how to lose the weight, put on more muscle, and have more energy. And because of that, their productivity is falling short in business. The stress gets higher, especially with the busiest time of the season around right now. Every client wants their job done yesterday. Maybe you're booked out a month, 2, 3 months in advance, which is a good problem to have. And ultimately, some of them even struggle with, not having the energy to keep up with their kids or even grandkids, depending on, where they're at in life. And if let's say, if you want additional help with all that, drop a comment and I'll be happy to reach out to see if we're even possible to help you out in the DMs, all that kind of stuff. And if you're tuning in, comment #live. If you're tuning in, watching live, on Facebook, all that kind of stuff, comment #live. If you're tuning in, watching the replay, comment #replay. Let the algorithm do its thing, pump that up, all that good stuff. So here are some of the biggest struggles that I see contractors facing right now, right? As I mentioned, this is the busiest time of year. Every client wants their job done yesterday, right? So stress is at an all-time high, especially, with having materials come in on time, keeping and finding good employees to build on your team, whether you're in the field and looking to transition into the office, or if you're in the office and looking to expand, right, and really take it to new heights. Whether you're making, anywhere between, $100,000, $300,000 a year, all the way up to 20 million, right? Wherever you're at in your business, it doesn't matter, because fitness applies to everybody, right? And there is no downside to being in better shape, right? There really is no downside, because there's only more upside in terms of how confident you feel, especially when approaching, new clients, all that kind of stuff, new prospective clients, especially if you're doing door to door, right? Knocking on doors and trying to drum up some more business. It's an old school way, but it works, right? So having that confidence to, have that conversation with your potential client, or even on calls on Zoom, right? All that kind of stuff makes a huge difference in terms of your confidence and how you stand out as a contractor, because typically, homeowners are getting what? Anywhere between 3 to 5 quotes, depending on the size of the job, right? So homeowners are shopping around, and if you can be that contractor that sticks out, not only physically, but in the way you present yourself during the conversations that you have, there's a higher chance that you will land that job and be able to scale up even faster, right? So some of the biggest struggles around all that is feeling low energy, right? Especially after a long day at work, or even waking up early, and just you can feel the tiredness on your eyes. And then because of that, that focus isn't there, that productivity isn't there in your business throughout the day. And then you come home feeling tired, come home to your family, and then that trickles into that relationship as well. And, maybe you have a feeling like no matter how much sleep you get, you will never feel refreshed. And that can be super frustrating. And another one is making excuses, because business is busy, right? And it's a good problem that business is busy. Better to be too busy than not busy at all. However, I work with contractors. I know contractors who are training, who work 7 days a week, but also train 3, 4 times a week in the gym. They go to the gym, and maybe it's 2, 3 2, 3, 5 minutes away from their house. It's convenient. Cool. They got a gym there, or they even train from home. So the commute is zero, right? There's no commute, and yet they still make it work regardless of their schedule, regardless if they're working 60 hours a week. And those excuses create a reality for yourself that just, it's a lower standard, right? It's a lower standard than where you could be, right? Because you can always raise the standard. We can always be better. And that helps to raise the standard around everyone around us. You know, the people on your team, relationships you have at home. So all that is super important. And then around that, excuses because this is the busiest time of the year. You know, too busy for a workout, too busy to eat better. The reality is we all have the same 24 hours a day. Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, LeBron James, Jocko Willink, all those guys have the same amount of time as you do. Thomas Jefferson, Donald Trump. So it's not so much about the time that we have, more so what we do with it, right? Do you catch yourself playing on your phone at work, especially on the job site? Do you catch yourself getting distracted with YouTube videos? Find yourself, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we often get caught up in a world of shiny object syndrome, is what I'm going for, right? So we've got all these opportunities, how do we know which one is going to be the one for us? Well, we try them all and then we achieve none, right? The focus isn't there. We get distracted. It's like opening 10 jobs at the same time and have your equipment all spread out, have the guys all spread out, and then achieving none, right? In an efficient manner. Over time, you'll complete them for sure. But in the time frame that, you and the client originally discussed, probably won't be up to that standard. So it's important to have that focus, right? Really cut out any kind of distractions that you might have, right? Especially, if you have a goal and the goal is the goal and you have that as your North Star, it's good to, almost do a sprint to that goal. And then you can maybe back off a little bit, cool off a little bit, and then recharge, reset, set a new goal, sprint towards that, back off, recharge, reset, set a new goal. But it is still a marathon, right? You are not giving up entirely. You do not just throw in the bag because you've achieved your goal. It's like, we've got to continue working at this. And then the last one here is no structure on how to burn fat and bring the stress down, right? A lot of you guys are super busy, way too busy to be doing research around the perfect workout plan, research around the perfect diet, research around, how to make it work with your busy schedule. And ultimately, if you are doing research, that might be taking time away from your business. That may be taking time from quality time around other things, and increasing your stress even more, because the amount of information, the amount of wealth of knowledge on the internet is endless, right? If you were to go plug in the best diet or the word diet on Google, you would get over like 1 billion responses, right? You would get 1 billion different responses thrown back at you. It's like, how do we navigate through that, right? How do we navigate through that? Well, that's why the easiest way is just pay someone to set it up for you, right? So you don't have to think about it. All you have to do is show up. So that's one of the solutions we do inside the Winners Mindset Fitness Academy. Clients, all my clients that I work with, all the contractors that I work with, they know exactly what to do. It is super simple, super easy. All they have to do is show up. And because it is so easy, it makes it easier to show up, right? The complexity isn't there. Business already takes enough time and energy and stress out of your life. There's no need to make it more stressful with making fitness complicated, because it doesn't have to be. It is super simple. It is super simple. So here's the solution, right? So here's the simplicity around all of this. Before I get in this, I'm gonna grab some coffee. It is as simple as 3 full body workouts, 30 to 45 times, 30 to 45 minutes rather, not 30 to 45 times, 3 times a week, 30 to 45 minutes at home to save time on commute. or in the gym if it's nearby, right? We really take into consideration, like, is it realistic for you to go to the gym? If you're driving 15, 20, 25 minutes the opposite way of the job site, the opposite way of the office, it's probably not ideal. Might be ideal if there's one on the way, right? That makes sense to save time on commute rather. However, if that doesn't work either, home workouts are sufficient enough to really make that possible, right? You will still see results doing home workouts. Might not be sexy. You might not, depending on what you have at home, you might not have all the equipment as you would at a gym, but typically most people have, some kind of dumbbells, some kind of barbells, plates, squat rack, maybe all that kind of stuff. So logistically, like factoring in what makes the most sense for you, right? Really think about this. Does it make sense to be driving to the gym? If not, okay, what can you do at home? Body weight squats are free. Push-ups are free. Planks are free. Crunches are free. Lunges are free. Glute bridges are free. Wall sits are free. If you were to go bare bones, body weight exercises are completely free. And if you want to turn up the heat a little bit more, you can get a doorway pull-up bar. You can get a dip station. You can start expanding your home gym so that it's always there for you. All you have to do is show up. So that's the first one, especially with getting the workouts in. Then it's a matter of consistency, adding more reps, adding more weight week over week. And if you're training at home, getting something like a weighted vest can make a huge difference. And then another one is eat your whole foods 90% of the time, with focus on your meats, your dairy, fish, your poultry, vegetables, potatoes, rice, and fruits, right? All those foods that we can pronounce with, single ingredient foods, right? Like what's in chicken, right? We can get down into the molecular level, but if you were to go shopping, you look at the ingredients on chicken breast, the ingredients are chicken breast. Super simple, right? We don't have to guess around that. It is very, very difficult to get fat on these foods because people typically don't have cravings for these foods. Like we don't typically have cravings for an apple. Typically don't have cravings for a banana. We typically don't have cravings for chicken breast, right? We've got cravings for chocolate. We got cravings for chips. We got cravings for ice cream. All those are very real, right? So we've got two things so far. We've got workouts in, we've got eating properly, and that's going to help you burn fat. That's going to help you lower your stress just by moving your body more, by challenging yourself physically. So you get out of your head and you get into your body, and you might even find during your workouts that you come to the solution of whatever challenge you're facing in business, whatever is going on, because you have that clarity of mind. Those endorphins put you in a higher state of thinking, right? You get that sweat on, you challenge yourself, and you feel accomplished at the end of it all. 30, 45 minutes, it might be a challenge during the workout itself, right? We should always be pushing ourselves, aiming to be a little bit better every single week. But once it's all said and done, after those 45 minutes are over, the amount of good feeling that you get, nobody can take that away from you. So another one here to really help in lowering your stress is don't cut out carbs entirely, right? So the purpose behind carbs, they actually help you bring your stress down, and your body turns those good carbs. I'm talking like your fruits, your potatoes, your rice, all that kind of stuff, your pastas, depending if gluten sits well for you or not. Typically, your body will take that and turn it into sugar to feed your muscles. And on top of that, it's going to help you bring your stress down, right? And it's going to keep your energy up. So although your body doesn't need carbs to survive, life is a hell of a lot better with them, especially if you're eating ones that digest well, right? If you feel super bloated after pasta and bread and all that kind of stuff, just don't eat it, right? Don't put yourself in that kind of position, or at least not as often, right? So really listen to your body, but understand that life is a hell of a lot better with those kind of good carbs, your potatoes, your rice, your fruits. That's going to help move the needle forward in terms of bringing your stress down. Now, let's say you're intermittent fasting, right? And your stress is higher than normal. Having some kind of breakfast in the morning that involves some kind of fruit, some protein like Greek yogurt, eggs, or even chicken can be a great way to start the day and actually keep you focused, energized, and reduce the cravings later in the day and bring your stress down. right? Especially if you are more physically active in the day, or you have mental number crunching in the office, right? Communicating with clients, communicating with your team, looking at Excel spreadsheets, making sure the teams are coordinating well in terms of the job that's being asked with the technicians in the field, right? So super important. Like if you're fasting and you're doing low carb, it's like, and your stress is super high, it's like, well, maybe we should do the opposite of that for a bit. Like maybe we should have 3 meals a day. Maybe we should be having more carbs, right? So this is where listening to your body is super important in terms of where you're at now and where you want to be, right? Because if you are super stressed and you're just hitting a wall in terms of, the fat loss that you want to achieve, along with, bringing your stress down, it's like, yeah, we need to take that into consideration. And the last one here is throw your excuses in the trash. We've all got excuses, right? We can all make excuses. It's time to take complete responsibility for your health and excuses, right? Extreme ownership, right? You're a full-grown adult male. It's time to act like it, right? Nobody's going to lift the weights for you. Nobody's going to eat the food for you. And, if you're serious about making a change, get serious, right? Because nobody's going to do that for you. So hopefully this was clear. Hopefully, this helps you burn your fat, reduce your stress, and get you moving in the right direction, especially during this busy time of the year. If you have any questions, comments about all this, if it wasn't clear or anything like that, want some additional help in setting up a plan that fits your busy schedule, drop a comment and I'll make sure to reach out to see if we can even help, right? Because we can't help everybody. But again, if you have any questions, comments, let me know. Happy to help. Cheers.